Welcome to my live stream. I just share this and wait for people to arrive for live stream. Hey Manda. Just sharing this and see who else is going to join live tonight. Awesome. Okay. So, welcome. If you don't know me, my name is Hannah. And I'm an intuitive healer for celebrities. If you haven't listened to me before and this is your first time on my live stream, please say hi and let me know this is your first time. You think you heard a spirit at work today at work. So you think you did? Are you doubting yourself there? Did you want to share more about that? I'm all ears tonight. If you want to ask me anything that's going on for you personally or for me or whatever you want to ask me, I'm all ears tonight. We are coming up to full moon as well. So what are we now? So this is Wednesday. So full moon is Sunday. Okay. So that's why I had to talk about it, obviously, because as I always say, like whenever there's a peak moon time, whether it's new moon, dark moon, you know, in between on the waning and waxing moon and the full moon, when it's actually the peak time of those, 3 days out either side of those, we can usually start feeling the effects quite rapidly, and that is kind of tomorrow, right? So the other factor that just came to mind then too is that we're starting to move into Mercury retrograde. I think it goes actual retrograde on Friday actually. So hey Jenny, are you new to my live stream? Let me know if you're new here. Hey Jenny, there's a few people here. So and apparently you know, and with the Mercury retrograde, that lasts for 3 weeks. So, and again, either side of that, like a week either side of the Mercury retrograde. Oh my goodness, can't talk tonight on these technical terms. Let's just not do technical terms tonight, right? Let's just do Mercury's going backwards for 3 weeks, okay? So a week either side. So in this past week, you might have already been feeling it. So like old patterns have been emerging, old stuff that you thought you'd dealt with, starting to doubt yourself more than ever before and all of that. Mercury retrograde is like, that's the window, right? It's starting to come into it and it hits on Friday. Well, that's when it's technically that. You are, yeah, welcome Jenny. So tonight, so usually I talk about a topic, but felt called tonight to just, if anybody's got any questions to please ask me. I'm not pulling any cards at all, but if you've got questions, well then please fire away. I'm all ears. So you said, I was working and I heard a hello and the door opened and there was no one there. Yeah, well probably there was somebody there. Yeah, and it's just yeah, it's been going on for you too, Amanda. So I guess with that, you know, like when I guess for me, you know, especially, and it kind of comes in waves, I guess, you know, sensing spirits or sensing, you know, people on the other side. And for me, you know, like I see a lot, but I don't see a lot. It's not like I see like a full ghost figure there, but I see them, if that makes sense, right? Yeah, I'll speak to that in a minute too, Jenny. So, and the thing is, you know, like I see them and it's not like, I mean, I say see a lot. I'm like, I see this, but as well, it's like, it's not just seeing and I don't just see the ghost. It's like I feel the presence, right? It's, you know, when I teach about the intuition and, you know, increasing your intuition and your spiritual organs, it's all 4 organs. It's your crown, it's your claircognizance, your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, and your clairsentience, which is your heart, so you feel it. Yeah, so, and it's not just one way we receive this, right? But we're usually strongest in one way, right? But all our other sense organs are there, and they kind of back each other up. So it's like, you know, see for me, it's like I saw, you know, quite recently actually, has been another kind of wave. As I said, it comes in waves. It's like I'll see something, I'll be doing the dishes and I'll see something in my backyard, or, you know, see someone walk past, but then I look up and it's not, right? But you do see them, yeah? It's real. And it's kind of like, well, I saw that, but then you get a sense about it, like your clairsentient kicks in, and it's like, oh yeah, okay. So it's like a double, it's backing up what you just saw, right? So yeah, when you said that, Jenny, you know, you can feel someone always around you, but you don't know what is that. You know, there's many different things, or people, or, you know, senses that could be. And it's, you know, tuning into your intuition about kind of who it is, what they're doing, all of that. In my Clearing Energy Blueprint mini course, which is a bonus in the Trust Intuition course actually, I speak, you know, in depth about, you know, what to do when you sense a presence in the house. How do you know if it's good spirit, bad spirit, is it an angel, is it, you know, someone who's passed over, all of that. So you lost your mum last year. Yeah, so if you're talking about your mum, it is probably a mum, if that's what you're sensing, because, you know, spirits will always, especially say if your mum's passed over, they make their presence known. And then they lead you to people like me to go, yes, you're right, you're feeling them, okay? Because, you know, spirits will turn up in your reality, like they'll make themselves known, but they won't just show up as a ghost like we, you know, see on the movies, and, you know, it's like it scares the hell out of us, right? Because they'll turn up, but they'll turn up in a way that won't scare us. Like, they don't want to scare us, right? But they want to make their, you know, journey, their presence known. I just read that. Haven't seen her in Last Journey. What do you mean in Last Journey? Can you share a bit more about that? So yeah, it's, you know, like they'll turn up, but they'll turn up in a way that, you know, they know that they won't scare us, right? And they'll lead you to people who can make, you know, confirmation for you, like me, like a person who does mediumship, right? She always comes in your dreams. Yeah, so they will communicate in your dreams too. I just saw Ruchi. Hi Ruchi. Hi everyone who's joining. Welcome. If you've got questions, if you're just joining, I'm not pulling cards, but ask me anything. I'm all ears tonight. So, hi Hannah, I'm curious. My father-in-law has been coming to my dreams, weird strong ones. Okay, yeah, so talking about dreams, you said as well, Jenny. So coming in dreams, so again, they come in a way that they don't scare us, right? So in a dream, they probably don't scare you, right? As much as just turning up in your house. And the other thing, I just got a message earlier to say this as well. So when, you know, when we're sensing presence in our house and that sort of thing, and I talk about this in my Clearing Energy Blueprint, that there is no difference between a spirit in the spirit world or a person in the physical world. So just like you wouldn't just have random strangers in your house, well, most of us probably wouldn't, you know, it's the same with the spirit world, is you wouldn't just have a random spirit in your house, right? It's like, you know, there's certain, you know, like energetic boundaries that you have, and you are allowed to put in place, because this is a way, you know, I talk about this a lot, especially recently, you know, about your energetic boundaries to protect your energy, to resource you so that you can continue doing the work that you need to do in the world, right? There's nothing wrong with saying no. I saw an awesome post today on Facebook somewhere, in somebody's group. It was something like, it's okay to say no to something that's not in energetic alignment. And I was like, oh, it's a little bit sidetracking off the topic, but in a sense of like, you know, you lock your house up at night time, you know, physically, well, most of us I'm sure probably do, you know, go around and do our normal routine before bed and lock the doors and make sure everything's in place or whatever. It's the same thing, you know, spiritually. We go around and we lock it spiritually, right? So in Clearing Energy Blueprint, Trust Intuition, I teach you all the ins and outs how to do this. You know, again, everything that I teach is in Trust Intuition, simply because it's how you learn to trust intuition, become super sparkling clear, right? So yeah, so come in your dreams. So, you know, like, be mindful of your dreams, you know, and if you have trouble deciphering the dreams, ask for more information. Go, okay, well, that was an interesting dream. Well, I need more information about that. or, you know, like, I do dream interpretation, you know, you can Google stuff about it, but at the same time, you know, listen to what your intuition is saying about the dream and, you know, the aspects that happen in the dream. So when she was in hospital and I was in Australia and she was in India. Okay, when she was in hospital, I was in Australia and she was in India. Okay. So did she, when she was in hospital, was that when she passed over and you weren't able to say goodbye? Is that what happened for you there, Jenny? Hi, Shubra. Hey, there's lots of people joining. If you've got any questions, I'm all ears. Ask me a question, ask a question about you, ask a question about anything. I'm all ears and happy to chat tonight. Yeah, so that's what happened for you. So I'm wondering if you've had any counselling or done any grief work specifically around that, because that's a really big deal, right? To not be there, to be able to say goodbye. So I'm curious if you've done any, you know, inner work on that, because yeah, it's really huge, and you know, I'm sending my heart out to you in that sense, because it's really big. Not really, yeah. So I'm kind of getting the message that, you know, maybe it's time, you know, to allow yourself to kind of go there in the grief, because with the grief cycle, you know, that does take time to go through the motions, and, you know, sometimes we can feel like we're getting on with it and then we get hit with grief again and we just feel like, oh, I thought we dealt with this. And, you know, I'm going to post my article in the comments for you. Where is that? The most common question I get asked, and it goes into detail about the grief cycle in there, because it's really important, you know, to understand that for any grief or any change brings on the grief cycle. So, and yeah, if you feel called to get some help with somebody, I'd highly recommend that. If it's not me, then, you know, somebody else. But yeah, it's important to have support to work through it. So I've posted the link in there for the article. So, okay, so I'll come back to your comments. I still see them all. I'm just going to speak to them before they jump off my screen. So Shubra says, dream of Scorpio and black snakes. All right. And beating them all the time with my slippers. Okay, so like scorpions, I'm assuming. So, you know, scorpions would be like the sting. So I guess, you know, dreaming, you know, that dream interpretation, you know, the sense that I'm getting is like, you know, who's stinging you, you know, with words or that sort of thing, or even backstabbing you. And then because the black snakes, like snakes are always about transformation, and actually snakes are connected to lapis lazuli, the liquid crystal, the blue one, which is connected to the third eye, which is connected to realization. So having realizations around the people in your life who are stinging you or like that, and you're beating them away, you don't want them in your life anymore, is the kind of message that I'm getting there for you. I'm wondering if that helps you at all, Shura. Okay, so okay, so I'm just checking these comments. Yeah, so I guess I just wanted to speak. What did you say? Yeah, so you I see your comment, Richie, and I'll come back to it. So Jenny, you said you feel guilty all the time why I wasn't there. Yeah, so that's something that's really heavy, as you probably know. And, you know, it really hits home in that regard. And, you know, with that guilt, it's kind of like, if you really tap into the bigger picture, that everything happens for a reason. And, you know, it's like, and it's almost like, and the message that I'm kind of getting for you too is like, if you were meant to be there, you would have been there. Like, death ultimately isn't very nice, like the last breaths and stuff. Like, as much as we want to be there and everything, it's not a nice experience, you know, let alone the grief and actually losing the person. The actual somebody dying is not nice, right? And I'm just really getting the sense for you to, you know, I know you feel guilty, and, you know, like, of course, like, who wouldn't want to be there, you know, to say goodbye to your mum, for goodness sake. Like, it's huge, like, it's massive, like, it's probably the most massivest thing you'd probably deal with, right? And, you know, really sending lots of love to you in that space. But, you know, I'm really getting that strong message for you that, you know, if you were meant to be there, you know, and I'm kind of getting a message, I'm actually feeling hurt, you know, she didn't want you there, right? In that soul contract space. And I guess that's what I was starting to share about, you know, death and dying is not very nice, right? So, you know, and I'm getting the message in the sense for you that, you know, she's just saying she didn't want you there, and to, you know, like, be okay with that. But she is, and like you said, you know, and that's why I was getting the message at the start, you know, like, she's around and she's sent you here to, you know, to me tonight on my live stream. You're the first time on my live stream, and, you know, this is coming up. So she's, you know, you've already been sensing her, right? And she's guided you here on my live stream tonight, and I just happened to be going, well, I'm talking about anything, ask me anything tonight. But I was so close to her, I don't know if I can contact her here through someone. Yeah, well, that's what I do. And that's why I've been just getting the messages for you right now from her about that. Because when you first said, you know, you've been feeling someone around you, like, what is that? Well, that's her, right? That is her. So yeah, so I'd be definitely, you know, doing some grief work, you know. I mean, that's what I do in mediumship. That's kind of this pretty much what mediumship is, you know, is about healing the relationships and the grief and guilt and everything that, you know, from when we didn't say goodbye or anything, you know, that she, you know, that she had, you know, like, everyone's always got stuff, you know. Just because somebody dies, the relationship doesn't end, because souls don't die, right? Our consciousness and our soul doesn't die when we leave our physical body, yeah? So she wanted to tell you, well, I was getting that sense of, like, don't, you know, she's saying, you know, she didn't want you there, you know, but she has been making her presence known to you lately. So I'm not getting that sense for you, no, Jenny. She's hanging around, but I'm wondering if you mean, you know, is she coming back to your family in another soul, like in another baby? And she just said no, but she's hanging around. She's hanging around. All right, just let me check these other comments before they slip off my screen. Okay, so Ruchi said, once he was scared, once he was weak, but all old and white. Last night I was celebrating his birthday and I saw it's 78 written, 78 sibling. Could these be connected? So when you were saying that, Richie, is that about, oh, your father-in-law? Oh, yeah. Yeah, so, okay, so this is the thing, right? This is the thing, when you get dreams, okay, when you have a dream about someone, especially if they're passed over, or, you know, like for me, I tend to counsel people in my dreams. People, you know, I wake up and I've been counseling people in my dreams. And then you kind of get, so say for example, I'm going to use your example, Richie. So you said you've been dreaming about your, what was it? Your uncle, your father-in-law. So your father-in-law, and you're dreaming about him, and then you said, you know, you saw all this, you know, and then last night I was celebrating his birthday and saw 78 written, so 78th birthday celebrating. Could these be connected? They're 100% connected. Like, and this is the thing, you know, in trusting your intuition, that, you know, if you're really tapped into the truth and, you know, release all the doubt and fear, you know, everything is a message. Every single thing is a message. The trick, right, is not to get stuck in the head analyzing everything. And the trick is trusting that the really important messages you need to know are the things that you'll be contemplating, you know, like, oh, is that, you know, is that connected? Is that 78? And then the dreams, and, you know, that's him making contact with you. Yeah. And this is the thing where it's like really important to listen to your messages of, you know, like, you know, all these little signs adding up, you know, like the feather randomly shows up under a couch, which, like, how the hell could that get there? Or, you know, like, these are all really real signs that spirit, you know, has, you know, and for you. And, you know, even if you're close to someone who is almost dying, and you even talk about it, you know, like, you know, and people, I've heard stories too, you know, like, send me a sign, like, when you go, send me a sign. And, you know, you could even say, like, make sure I see feathers, or, you know, maybe I will smell you, or something like that, you know. Like, sometimes I smell my grandparents around, you know, I'll smell lamb chops cooking and the lamb chops aren't cooking. Do you know what I mean? Because for me, And this is the thing about when I said they will show up in a way that won't scare you, right? They know how you recognize them. So, you know, for me, lamb chops is like when I was a kid at my grandparents' house, every morning I would wake up to the smell of lamb chops slowly cooking and porridge. Like that's, you know, that's my childhood memory at my, you know, Nana's house. And so now when they want to make their presence known, I'll smell lamb chops, and then I'll randomly sweep the kitchen floor after I do the dishes, which I rarely do, right? I only do it if I'm going to vacuum the whole house or something. But if I'm sweeping the kitchen floor, which is something that my grandpa used to do every time, you know, my Nana would cook dinner and then my grandpa would do the dishes and he'd sweep the kitchen floor. And I'd really notice it because I guess I never saw that, right? But when I'm sweeping the floor and then I'm smelling lamb chops, I'm like, oh, okay, my grandpa's around, right? So these are the ways that, you know, spirit world is talking to you, and it's really about, you know, feeling safe about it, because like I said, you know, like when you've got your energy boundaries in place, you know, like I said, you wouldn't just invite a normal stranger into your house. Well, probably not. You know, you wouldn't just let random strangers walk in and out of your house. It's the same in the spirit world, you know, and there's ways to put those boundaries up so that that doesn't happen. I know when I'm randomly seeing, you know, like the flicks and, you know, they're in my backyard and stuff, because I've got those energetic boundaries. I'm like, well, people just not coming in my house. This is my space, right? So, you know, if you're getting signs, you really need to trust them. And, you know, again, like I said, if you're, you know, kind of going over them, you know, like, oh, is that connected and that connected? Yes, it's connected, right? Okay, so let's check these comments. Okay, so Amanda says, will I achieve my fitness goals as I'm trying very hard to stay on track to be fitter? Yes, you will, if you think you will. Yeah, I know it's really kind of like, ugh. But, you know, and the thing is, you know, with fitness, with manifesting money, with manifesting a partner, with manifesting anything, it's about holding that vision and holding it until it gets there, until you get there. It's about holding that vision, taking the action steps, and being that person now to bring that into reality. So, for example, with your fitness goals, oh, I don't feel like exercising today, I'll do it tomorrow. Well, you don't have this goal in mind. You don't have that in your vision every single day, right? Because what you need to do today to bring this into person is actually get off your ass and go do the thing even though you don't want to do it, right? And then as you keep doing that thing, even though you don't want to do it, but you've got this goal in mind, that draws this closer. And then as it comes closer, you can feel it and you actually start to feel the results and you're like, oh, I actually want to do it, yeah? So the more you turn up, the more it will, but you know, you're trying very hard to stay on track. So yeah, and you know, and it takes time, and this is the thing people forget too, you know, when we're changing something, you know, you didn't just take 2 days to get to the overweight space that you're not comfortable with. You know, it probably took several years or several months, right? It's not going to take a couple of days or a couple of months to just get to that fit place. You know, it takes time to, you know, release that. So always, you know, always know that however long it's taken you to get that point, doesn't mean that it's going to take that much longer to, you know, do that. But it's going to, it's going to take time, right? It's not going to be overnight, yeah? Ask anyone about any success that didn't take them overnight. Okay, Tiana, am I with the right person? If you're asking that question, probably not. I know that sounds very simple and like, too. But again, if you're questioning, if you're confused, it's when your head overtakes your heart. So if your heart always knows. So if you're questioning it, there's two things, right? If something doesn't feel right in your heart, and you're like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm with the, you know, and your mind's going, oh yeah, but it's fine. No, they're fine. Your mind's talking you out of what your heart already knows is truth. If your heart is like, yeah, this is really right, but then your mind, you know, sabotaging a good thing. The other example is sabotaging a good thing. So your heart's like, yeah, this is really good, but your mind's like, oh no, but they're doing this and they're doing that. So the mind will always try and find something negative, no matter what the heart's saying. And it's the discipline and the muscle to strengthen the heart and go, yeah, actually this is right, because that's what will overtake. So I hope that helps a little bit, Tiana. Okay, so is it Adeline? Sorry for pronunciation. I had a dream last night that my ex-husband's new wife and I were friends, but in real life we are not. What does that mean? That my ex-husband, new wife and I were friends. Okay, so, a couple of things that's possible. You know, that, you know, I'm not sure if you've got kids or anything like that, but for kids it's definitely, you know, a good thing. Well, better for everybody if everybody gets along, right? So when you said, you know, but in real life we are not, what does that mean? So I'm curious if you're wanting some, you know, I guess resolution there around, you know, wanting to be friends, you know, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's possible to create that. It might take some time, and it might take a lot of, like, releasing pride on somebody's end, but, you know, the way to shift through any crap is to stay here. No matter what anybody's saying, doing, is just to stay here. Oh yeah, I can see how they've been doing that. Okay, I'm still here anyway. Yeah, you don't hate her. No, I wasn't getting that sense from you. I was kind of feeling it from the other way. So yeah, so really curious about that for you. But yeah, it's just, if you had a dream about it, it's possible, right? Okay. So Jenny says, true, but I was so close to her, I don't know if I can contact her here through someone. Oh yeah, I spoke to you about that. Richie says, think you're guided by him too. Yeah, that's the thing. Spirits will always guide you to someone who can communicate. If you're not getting the messages, they will guide you to someone who can say, hey, listen to the messages because they're true. Because they want you to know that they're around, because they don't want you to feel alone. They don't want you to feel that grief. Like, yeah, they understand, and yeah, it's normal human emotions, but they don't want you to, they don't want you to be sad, like, you know. And the other, I guess, flip side of that is that when we are grieving, you know, and yes, it takes time to go through the grieving cycle, but if we are hanging on to them, it's not letting them go to the other side and them to go on their soul's journey either. So that's why mediumship's really important, to be able to, you know, heal the relationships and have that communication so that that soul can go and do their thing, because that's why they left the earth, because they've got other stuff to do. Like, this universe is huge, right? Doesn't mean that they go forever, right? Souls will go and then they will come back and check and say hello, and if you call them back, they usually come back, you know. But it's a, I don't know what the word is, it's, you know, both parties need to be able to allow each other to have the freedom to, you know, allow the souls to do what they need to do, right? But it doesn't mean it doesn't hurt, you know, of course, and that's, you know, where it's needing to go through the grief cycle there. So yeah, Jenny, just read that article if you haven't already yet. Okay. Just checking these comments here. Yeah, and they're normal emotions that will come, you know, come and go, Jenny. And yeah, so I said, you know, it just sounds like you're ready to start working through it. So, you know, happy to do, you know, I offer psychic readings. But yeah, and if it's not through me, well then, you know, find someone else that you resonate with. But it just feels like it's time to really, you know, you're ready, it feels like, to work through it. And that's why she's been hanging around, because she's, you know, there with that. It takes two to heal, yeah? Well, it takes one person to heal, but two willing people to work through something. Okay. He and I never got along too well. He never comes to anyone in family. Yeah, okay. So if you never got along well, again, this is, you know, resolving. Hi, everybody. I see all these new people joining. I'm just checking these comments. I do see you joining. Thank you for joining and watching me. Okay, so he and I never got along too well. He never comes to anyone in the family. Okay, so and this is the purpose of mediumship, right? If there is unresolved stuff between a relationship, that is why a soul will be hanging around. That's why a soul will be trying to make contact. That's why a soul will lead you to someone like this. Good night, Adeline. You're welcome. If, you know, if a soul's hanging around and they lead you to someone, they're wanting to resolve the stuff. Right? So as you said, you know, he and I never got along too well. Well, he's hanging around. He wants to resolve that, because when we're human and in our human body, we've got human stuff, right? We've got ego, we've got triggers, we've got all this sort of stuff. When a soul passes over, the stuff's still there, but we don't have the same emotional ego attachment stuff, and we, you know, we're back into love and we want to resolve it, right? That's the point of relationship and returning back to love. So, you know, by, you know, a soul hanging around and, you know, leading you to someone like me who can, you know, communicate that way and help heal the relationship, that's what they're trying to do. So, you know, if there was unresolved stuff between you and somebody who has passed over and you do start sensing them around, it's because they're wanting the forgiveness, you know, forgiveness on both parts, because it's a two-way street, you know, like unforgiveness is, you know, resentment, and that's, it's really big, right? It's what's the word? It's heavy, it's dark, it's, you know, like, you know, we want that ultimate forgiveness and peace and return back to love, right? So that's why they hang around like that. Okay, very true. Sometimes our loved ones don't want us there when they are dying. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I had a lot of guilt around my grandfather and my grandmother. I wasn't there actually for both of them, my nana and my grandfather. Yeah, you're welcome, Christina. Yeah, that's the thing. There's always, you know, if you're watching, there's always questions that get answered. So I always say, if I never get to you with a psychic reading, listen carefully, because there's always a message for you. If you've turned up, Spirit's showing you something, right? You're welcome, Jenny. Yeah, so they don't want us there when they're dying. Very true, Beryl. Some do need us there, and it's really hard. I have had to be there many times. See such things, it never leaves you, but you shouldn't be sorry if you weren't there. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, and that's the thing, like I was just starting to say, like my grandpa, when he first died, my grandfather, he always called him Rex. It's funny, I was talking about lamb chops. I think he's probably around again, sweeping the kitchen and stuff. This is who I was talking about. Yeah, and anyway, I'm getting sidetracked because I can sense him now. So, he's making his presence known. Thanks for sharing that, Beryl. It's important. It's an important message, because he was my first, I guess, close family relative that had passed away since I've been growing up, several years ago now. And I felt really guilty because I didn't go down for the funeral, you know, like I think he did. He passed away on New Year's Day, back in 2006 or 2004 or 2005 it was. And you know, I had a lot of guilt around it. You know, I'd been, back in those days, I was, you know, out partying for several days leading up to New Year's Day. And, you know, and then I found out, and I was just, you know, of course I didn't go down for the funeral or anything like that. And I held on to a lot of guilt for a long time around that, and not being there even for the funeral or anything. And when I saw a psychic medium, probably about 18 months after, you know, like she said, he didn't want you there, you know, he didn't want you around that, you know, in the end, because it's not nice. It isn't nice. Death is not nice. You know, I've been around many animals that I've had to let go of in my time, but, you know, humans not so much. And, you know, only recently have I been around and experienced that closely. And it's like, oh wow, yeah, I now see I was never ready for that before. Whereas now I'm in that space, you know, to be able to handle it emotionally, spiritually, you know, physically, you know, it's death is huge, right? So yeah, so if you don't end up being there, you know, and that's when my grandmother was dying. And my auntie who lived in the States, you know, she would travel back frequently, you know, like to be with her and stuff. And she was always saying to me, she's so scared that she's never, you know, she's not going to be there when, you know, Nana passes, that she'd be in the States. And I said to her, I said, well, look, I said, do you believe in God enough? Like, do you trust God? She's a big believer in God. So do you trust God enough that, you know, if you're meant to be there and God wants you there, or pray to God to be there, and then trust that, right? Trust that you will be there at that time. And she was, right? So yeah. Okay. Beryl says, is my mother happy that I've seen my family as they asked me to their home? How do you think she would feel about that, Beryl? Hey, Kylie. Hey, I see everyone joining. Thanks, GG. GG. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. It feels very heart space there, Beryl, about that. I can't feel my dad. Is he with me? Or I just can't feel him? I'm so glad, Richie, and that's all the healing that needs to take. That's all it takes sometimes, is just that bit of understanding of why they're hanging around, because it's why. They want forgiveness, they want peace, you know, they've returned back into love, which is, you know, our journey here on this, you know, planet, you know, and the more we can, you know, I guess work on our stuff and forgive and heal, and, you know, we don't have so much stuff to deal with when we pass over, you know, like Archangel Jeremiel is the archangel who does life reviews. Like, he's one of the archangels where when you do pass over, you go through your life review, like he's the one that takes you through that, but you don't need to wait until you pass over to do the life review. So, you know, you can call upon Archangel Jeremiel, very connected to third eye, connected to dream state, connected to all of that, you know, healing, you know, relationships, and reviewing relationships, because you don't need to wait until you die to do healing work, right? This is why you guys are all here following me, for sure. So Sylvia, when you said that, I can't feel my dad, is he with me, or I just can't feel him, the first thing that came to mind is, remember how I was just saying before, yeah, and I was picking that up for you too, Beryl, around, you know, because we had that conversation as well earlier. So Sylvia, when you said that, can't feel my dad, is he with me, or I just can't feel him. So remember I said earlier, I know I just repeated myself, I'm sorry. I said earlier in the live stream how when a soul, you know, passes over and dies, like, you know, there's a couple of things that happen. So they'll hang around, so they'll be in shock. Sometimes they're, you know, in shock because of a car accident or something like that, and they're just kind of like, whoa, what's happened? And then they see all their grieving loved ones and they hang around because they're worried about them, and, you know, and that can process and go on for a long time or a short time, depending on the soul contracts and, you know, who's around and all that sort of thing. So, so when I said, you know, and the soul leaves the physical body, they're kind of making sure everyone's okay, and then they go and do, say, their life review and do, you know, there's work to do, right? Whatever souls do on the other side. There's an awesome book called Life on the Other Side by Sylvia Brown. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. She goes into all the details around, you know, the souls and the soul contracts and what we do when we pass over and all that sort of thing. It's an awesome book if you're curious about it. I just posted it again, Jenny, that link for you. So, okay, Sylvia, so when you said that, it was like the message that I got straight away is that he's doing work. So he knows, you know, like, and if you call upon him, he will eventually come back, you know, like souls are busy too, right? But it's the same as, you know, I guess is if you, like I said, there's no difference between physical reality and soul reality. So, you know, if you think of like, you know, well, sometimes dad would be working, so I wouldn't be able to catch up with him. It's the same sort of thing, right? He's working, doing his soul stuff on the other side or whatever that is. You know, but if you, so they're not hanging around all the time, right? They're not just, we don't just die and just hang around forever, but we do hang around at times, right? Here's I'm speaking as if I already done it. Guess that's the message I'm getting. So when you said, is he around, or you just can't feel him, if you can't feel him, he's probably not around. But if you start calling him to come back, or, you know, can you please come to me in my dreams, you know, like that sort of contact, they will come back. You know, if you need to speak to them about something, if you call them and ask them to, you know, please make your presence known, please make sure that I'm conscious and know that this is you that's hanging around. I miss you. I just want to see you, right? They will come back. So I just got goosebumps or truth bumps saying that. So, and I'm getting the message that he's come back now because you have, you know, you've asked that question and I've just said he's gone away. So, you know, this is the sort of thing that you can do, is to, you know, call them back, you know, if you miss them. Like, it's normal. Like, just because they're dead and gone and we've grieved and it's in the past, it doesn't mean that we never forget. Like, we never forget somebody like that, you know. And the soul contract, yeah, you're welcome, Christina. You know, that soul contract, you know, the souls, do you know what I mean? Like, that's what I mean. Like, relationships never end. It's like when you meet someone in physical life and you're like, oh, I know this, but, you know, I feel like I've known you in a past life, right? That shit's real, okay? It's not, don't make me joking around with it, but, lamb chops, yeah. Okay, so just checking these comments. Okay. So I hope that helps, Sylvia. Does waking up at 4 a.m. mean anything? It's happening for about a week now. Okay, so 4 a.m. wake time. The 4 a.m. there's a couple of things there. So 4 a.m. I think it's 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. I think I'd have to check the chart again. Is grief, is lungs, is grief. So if you're dealing through, you know, starting to work through stuff, which I know you're interested in intuition, so as you start to move in, it's going to start bringing up stuff because interested in intuition, we're working through deep core soul stuff, healing all wounds and all that sort of thing. So when you, it just depends, you know, like, I guess, like I was saying, there's two kind of bits there, because waking up at 4 a.m. is quite normal for people who are, I guess, really healthy, and, you know, it's a kind of normal time for Kundalini yoga teachers or yogis to wake up and do their rituals at that time of morning, especially in, you know, summertime like that. There's something really unique and like really potent about dawn and dusk. You know, it's the changing, you know, veils almost, and it's a really powerful, potent time. So if you are waking at that time, whether it's through grief or through, you know, healthy living and, you know, in that lifestyle, regardless, it's really potent to be doing, you know, visualizing, meditating, working on, you know, creating your day. You know, don't let your day just happen. It's about creating it, right? So between 3 and 5 is grief. Okay, there we go. Yeah. So yeah, so you can get lots done, you know, and it is a real potent time of the day. So just be mindful, you know, in the coming, you know, so it's been happening for about a week now, so be mindful in the kind of next 2 weeks I'm getting, just to notice if there is any grief or resentment coming up or anything like that from past relationships, because all connected to the heart there, yeah? All right. Talking a lot about mediumship tonight, so I'm going to put a little edit in this thing and say, you know, mediumship, because I was going to say something else tonight too. I don't know, but yeah, full moon. I have been working on so much stuff behind the scenes. I've been like so busy, hence me getting on live stream at 9 o'clock at night. The day seems so much shorter. Are you in this northern hemisphere? Because I'm in the southern hemisphere. Hot sitting here with my lights on. I've got my aircon on tonight. I'm doing healing at the moment, working on myself, so it could be it. Yeah. When you start bringing stuff up, so I was getting the message, just be mindful what's coming up there. Mindful what you start thinking about, you know, too, at that time. Does anyone have any questions, any other questions before I jump off live stream? So yeah, so Nicole, when you said the day seems so much shorter, yeah, you're in California, so be heading into the the winter. So we're just kicked into summertime here, in Australia. I'm in Australia, just north of Brisbane, Australia, on the Sunshine Coast. So yeah, so we've just kicked into that. Starting to sun's up at 4 a.m. and yeah, I'm loving. I'm a summertime, well, I'm a springtime baby. I was born in September, so I do love the warmer things. Probably why I live in the subtropics as well. Okay, so how do we contact those souls? So even if we can't, you know, like if your skills are not at mediumship, like extreme, not extreme capacity, or what's the word, like high level mediumship skills. 4 p.m. Wow, yeah, that's big. Sorry, I just want to speak to that quickly too. You know, like really tune into the cycles and rhythms of the earth. So, you know, like there's a reason why we have summer, spring, autumn, winter. I spoke about this in my empath video, right? Really important, and I'm going to share that link in there. If you haven't seen it, I highly recommend. It's a long video, but it's very, very informative. So, you know, it's important to really go with the flows around that, right? So there's a reason that in winter we want to sleep more. There's a reason that's darker for longer. There's a reason bears hibernate, for example, right? It's a way that our body repairs, is a natural rhythm and cycle. And when we tune into that and allow that, that's when our life really kicks into gear, because we're not fighting and going against the flow. We're actually going with it. So, you know, in this winter and even, you know, the first part of spring, I slept so much. You know, I know I was healing a lot, but I slept so much. You know, and sleep is like the ultimate healer. If there's anything wrong in your life, if you don't know what to do or anything's wrong, go to sleep, right? Because you're probably tired if you're trying to figure everything out. Make sure your sleep levels are, you know, really high. And then, you know, then work on the other things after that. Because sleep is like the #1 healer. If anything is wrong, go to sleep. Everything's fine after a sleep, right? So usually, anyway, you know what I'm saying. I'm just going to share that video. Oh, so yeah, the reason I said about that for you, Nicole, is just to, you know, like, go with it. You know, like, yeah, it takes a little bit of time to kind of get into that rhythm and cycle of, you know, oh, it's 4 p.m. it's dark already, like, I've got so much to do, or the day's not over, you know. But it's just allowing yourself, you know, like, if you do feel like you need to sleep longer, like, allow yourself that. Like, well, it is winter, right? You know, go with that, yeah? So I just shared that empath video. I do talk about that in the you know, the reasons why it's important, especially as a sensitive soul. I'm an ordinary soul. You're an ordinary soul, I love it. Okay, so how can we contact those souls, like my father-in-law, to tell him a message? So, okay, so what I was saying, that if you don't have really clear mediumship skills, or you think you don't, and you don't know that you're, you know, you don't know how to receive messages, or you don't, you know, think that you are, or whatever, how do we contact them? Well, the fact is that they're hanging around, they can hear you, see you, all of that. So you talking to them, even if you don't feel or can't get a response from them, you just, because you feel like you can't, you know, receive that yourself, because you're not clear or whatever you think about yourself, you can just talk to them like you're talking to a normal person, and they are hearing, seeing, feeling everything. So just know that if you've been getting the signs, dreams, you know, feeling them in the house, or the 78 thing, that's them communicating to you, because that's how they can get those messages to you. So know that they're there, and by you just having a normal conversation, right, like you would a normal person, and yeah, people that don't get this sort of thing would think you're crazy, but we know that we're not, right? We're just very tapped in. So when you're talking to them like that, you know, and you have a normal conversation, then you'd be like, oh, well, that felt a bit stupid. That's a bit silly. And you go on about your normal day or whatever, right? And then randomly you just open your Facebook feed, and there's something that's like, you know, confirming, say, the 78 years that you were, you know, like another message like that. Know that they're going, yes, I heard you. Okay? And that's why, you know, when I teach, you know, trust your intuition, it's like, you're receiving messages all the time, right? The trick is, like I said at the very start, is not to get stuck in the head trying to analyze everything. But know that if you're seeing something, especially after you just had a conversation and you're like, okay, I got it. Cool, that's the sign, got it. Got the message, right? Because it's real, right? So that's how you communicate to them, right? And then they'll communicate back in a way that you make sure you get the message. Okay? All right. Yeah, it hasn't been too hot here, Jenny. It is hot now, actually. I'm hot now, but I haven't got my aircon on. It's raining today. You're very welcome, Richie. So I'm going to jump off live stream if nobody's got any other questions. How can you contact your spirit guides? So I was just about to start talking about it. So in Trust Your Intuition, which is my online course, which closes in 3 hours time, there is over 100 videos in there. There's over 60 audio meditations, and it's at a ridiculously low price. So when the doors close at midnight tonight in another 3 hours, then when I reopen it mid next year, it's not going to be at this low price. So if anything that I've been talking about is calling you, Mediumship is in module 3. How do you contact your spirit guides? Module 2 is full of that. it's probably like overloaded. It's probably like too much in there of how to contact your spirit guides. And, you know, trust your intuition is based on, you know, being able to talk, listen, you know, communicate, you know, heal your spiritual organs, fine tune them, strengthen them so that you do have that really clear communication with your spirit guides, with mediumship, with your inner self as well. So shadow work, you know, all of that. Can't wait to start it. Yeah. So Christina joins us. There's a few people, I think there's a few people here that have jumped on and off tonight. I saw you guys pop on that are in the Trust Your Intuition group. So, yeah, so I mean, how can you contact your spirit guides? Yeah, so I'm not pulling cards, but if you've got a question, well then I can, you know, help you with that. Been having heaps of connections lately. Yeah, and the more that you start becoming aware of them, you know, they're there all the time. Like I said, it's like the more you start becoming aware of them, the more you'll notice them. So just to answer your question a bit more there too, how can you contact your spirit guides, Katie? You know, like in essence, like, yeah, I'm saying, yeah, everything's in trust intuition for that exact purpose. Like, yes, definitely. But the other kind of factor is on top of that is, what did you say there? Oh yeah, so the other factor, so basically, how do you contact your spirit guides? You strengthen your intuition, you know, clear, and, you know, the more personal development work you do on yourself is, you know, the more that you shift your vibrational blocks out, and then you become really clear and your vibration becomes high, and then you have that really clear contact communication with your spirit guides, right? So yeah, and that, like I said, I mean, that's why I teach what I do in Trust Your Intuition, because, you know, that's basically that. Spirit guides, contacting anything, receiving intuition, you know, all those messages. So if you haven't already got, you know, I do have, let me just grab it, my internal compass meditation. So it's a free meditation, and, you know, because basically, you know, you want to be clear in your chakras, but, you know, then going into deeper work about the traumas that are blocking you from past life and all of that. Again, it's in Trust Your Intuition. But if you want something to start communicating and getting that clear, you know, basically you need to be clear in yourself. And ultimately, how do you contact your spirit guides? You trust your intuition. You trust the messages that you receive. Hence why my course is called Trust Your Intuition, so that you not only receive your clear messages, but you trust them and then act on them. So if you really want, you know, that answer, how do you contact your spirit guides? You trust the messages that you're receiving right now, right? Because you will be receiving messages right now. It just depends if we trust them. So Katie, I'm going to put the internal compass link just in the comments there right now for you. So that's a free meditation you can download if you haven't got that already. There's actually a little training bonus video in there as well, so you can to Australia, Samoy. It's the first thing that came to mind, but that's a bit random. I know you're on the other side of the world. Yeah, I do. As soon as you said that, I was like, yeah, I'm like, to Australia, but is that just my stuff? Okay. Do I use cards or a pendulum? Both, depending on what mood I'm in or how I'm feeling. You're welcome, Katie. I'm just going to put the link to Trust Your Intuition in. I'm pretty sure I teach about the pendulum in Trust Your Intuition. Sure I do. I know I taught it in the workshops. Is anyone here on live stream? Let's see, I've got so much stuff in there, I don't even remember what's in there. Let me have a quick look. There's only 3 hours to get into Trust Your Intuition left too. I just put that link in the comment. I'm just having a look. Oh, maybe I put it, because I put how to read your own tarot cards. That's a bonus in Trust Your Intuition. I know I taught it in the workshops because I actually gave the students a pendulum as a gift. I actually don't know that I've got the pendulum in there, but I'm just about to add another bonus into there. I'm creating a clean energy course, which is about the physical clearing of the house. So like it was pretty funny. I was laughing to myself the other day. Like someone asked me or something about crystal grids and stuff, and I was like, you know what, like even using sage or crystals to clear energy in your house, like I actually haven't taught that. Like I do it all the time. It's just like, and that's probably why I kind of forgot about it, because it's like second nature to me. But I was laughing with my Trust Intuition students in the group, because I was like how funny that I've created all the spiritual stuff of what to do, and then kind of like left the physical stuff to last, because I'm just creating that clean energy course now. That'll be a mini $19 course, but it will also be added to the Trust Intuition. So the thing with Trust Intuition, that's my baby. That's my big baby course, and everything that I've ever created is kind of in there. Well, you know, everything you need to trust intuition. So, you know, when you join Trust Intuition, you get lifetime access to that. So any upgrades, anything that I end up adding in, so that clean energy is going in there as well. But I just thought it was funny that, you know, I'm like, here I am, you know, I know I'm a spiritual teacher and, you know, that sort of thing. But it was just funny that, you know, that hadn't even kind of crossed my mind, but it's something that I do all the time as well. So, you know, it's just a physical, and I'm just teaching about spiritual. Yeah, I actually haven't got pendulums in there. I've got pendulums in the, is it Heart Chakra book? So the ebooks, so I've written the ebooks as well. Yeah. Desperate to start your house. You do sage, but you have so much clutter. Yeah, clutter's a big thing. There's a couple more comments here I saw. Thanks, Jenny. When you start working through Trust Intuition some more, the clutter and decluttering will come a lot easier. So we're always usually holding, you know, holding on to clutter because of fear of letting go, fear of not getting it again. Like it's a fear of not enough. So yeah, working through Trust Intuition is gonna help you. Like you'll naturally do it. Like I guess what I'm saying is that when you work through Trust Intuition, you start working through the wounds and stuff. Like we shift energetically, we shift vibrationally stuff out, and then we'll kind of come to a house and go, oh, I don't need this anymore, and it'll just be so flowing. Like it'll just be like, oh my god, it was like effortless, right? So yeah, so and again, it's like the internal work reflects the external. Yeah, so that entity, module 3, Christina. Module 3 is all about the entities, or module 3 and then module 4. So end of module 3 and in module 4 is how to clear them and all of that. So it's in Clearing Energy Blueprint, and then leading into module 4. You want to skip. What do you mean you want to skip? I'm loving having my students on here. Yeah, so I won't go into that, Christina, because it's in there for you. And it's kind of more than just a quick talk, if that makes sense. And I'm needing to jump off live stream, so... Yeah, dark, negative demons, entities, dark, like spirits, like hooks, you know, demons, all of that. Module 3, it's in module 4 actually, but module 3, at the end of module 3, leads you into module 4. Actually, let me just have a quick look. Module 4 is how to clear them. Module 3, I think I explain it. But yeah, demons are not nice entities. You know, that's all in. Just let me have a quick look. Oh yeah, it's module 4. But I just want to say, in saying that, the reason entities are around, right? Entities, demons, the real like not nice ones, right? They will turn up in your reality when you are about to step up the next level. So there's nothing to fear of them, even though they appear and try and scare you and all this sort of thing. When you can remember to focus on the light within them, right, that's when it all kind of dissipates, right? Yeah, you don't want to hang out with them, but it's also about not fearing them. Because I've learnt to, you know, I've gone through so much, and you'll hear all my stories as I go through the course. But like I get kind of excited when they're around now. It's not as often as it used to be. When I'm about to step up, like when I first stepped up to start writing the Crown Chakra book, which is the first in the Lightfield Yoga, you know, Chakra Consciousness series, which has now turned into, you know, the course and as you see it today. When I first stepped up to, I'd written the book, but I'd almost finished it, and then I was about to teach the workshop, which was the first start of all of this. You know, they were really around. It was just like, it was intense, and I was just like, you know, some crazy ass shit happened, but I knew it was a demon, like, you know, but I was like, oh, well, there's makes sense. Here I'm about to step up and start teaching this, you know. And it's like, you know, when they're around, it's like, do you really want to do this? Are you really going to do it? Are you, you know, you're going to do it? Are you, you know, you're really going to do it? You know, and it's like, well, yeah, I am. So go away. I'm still doing it anyway. You can't stop me, right? Because what they're doing is they're distracting you. And, you know, and it's like they're there to turn us towards the light. So it's kind of like, yeah, we could go off in our addictions and go, yeah, actually, I'm not going to do this spiritual work. I'm not going to step up into my life purpose. Or we can go, hey, okay, cool. Yes, I am going to keep doing this. Yes, like they're just your fears, right? So in a quick way, I obviously had to share that little bit. But yeah, all the details, how to remove them, all that sort of thing. It's in module 3 and 4. Trust your intuition. All right, I'm going to have to jump off this live stream in a second. There's just some questions that I missed here, though. I'm just having a look here. You're welcome, Beryl. Katie, you're welcome. Okay. Yeah, I'm curious some way. Oh, yeah, you're not moving to Australia. I don't know what that's about. Maybe I just want to. Okay, Katie, oh, you said about the job. So, Katie, did you hear what I said? Maybe you weren't on the live stream then. If you go back and rewatch the live stream, in a point where I was talking to Manda, I'm not sure if you heard me or not. I was talking to Manda about when she was talking about her exercise, and I said about being that person and then doing the steps to be there. So it can be really disheartening when we're not getting anywhere. But the thing is holding that, you're welcome, Christina, holding that vision of what you want and doing what you need to do every single day, even when you're losing hope, even when you've had enough, even when you know, hold that vision of what you want. And then, you know, it's important to, you know, keep turning up and doing that thing. At the same time, don't get bogged down in the, like the one way is what I'm getting the message for you. Like look over here and look at jobs and stuff that you wouldn't even, I'm not doing that. Right. Expand and go into everything, like just apply for everything, right? So I remember when I'm obviously needing to share this with you. So I was just moved to Brisbane and I was looking for work and I got all dressed up and I printed out, you know, because the government Centrelink's, you know, making us look for work so we're not just on the pension or whatever. I'm like, okay, cool. I went into Centrelink office and I printed out 100 resumes. It was 100, right? And it's just a numbers game. Yeah, anything is a numbers game. The more you put out there, the more chance you've got. So I got all dressed up in my nice clothes and I got my 100 resumes and I went to a shopping centre and I went into every single shopping centre. I said, can I please see the manager? Can I please see the manager? And I went in and had my resumes in. This was 10 years ago. I know these days a lot of places don't accept resumes, but anyway, this is, you know, the message is the more you put out there, the more chances you've got, the more opportunities you've got. And now, as I said, you know, I went into that shopping centre because, you know, retail was what I did back then. And I applied, like I just put my resume in everything, even in places that I didn't want to work at, like a menswear store. Like I was like, oh, I don't want to work. And he was like, can I see my job? Like that. And he called me back, you know, and he's, you know, I ended up getting a job there, you know. It was like, you know, and I actually got 10 interviews, to be honest. Like I remember, because I was, you know, I always remember this thing. I was like, wow, I put out 100 resumes and I had 10 interviews and then I could choose which job I wanted to come into, right? And I ended up choosing the menswear shop because they was selling Hugo Boss, you know, nice suits and everything. And I was like, oh yeah, actually this is my level. So I guess the point and the message of the story is, yeah, it can be disheartening, but really widen your sphere, I guess, and just apply for everything. Even things that you think that you would never want to do it. And the reason that I say this is because when you are manifesting, it's important to show the universe how willing you are to do whatever it takes. Do whatever it takes. Okay, universe, this is what I want to create. Help me. This is what I'm willing to do. Show me the way. Yeah, and if you're not meant to do a thing, you will be blocked. And the universe sees how willing you are and goes, oh, here you go then. Because you're already stepping into that of what you're wanting to do, right? So I hope that helps you a bit there. Yeah, definitely. For sure, Samoy. Okay, so I hope that helps you, Katie and Jenny. Good things happening. Good things come to those who create them. Not who wait for them, who create them. We are creators of our reality. We create everything. So if you want good things to happen, create them, plan them in, make them happen. Because the more that you, again, it's the same thing what I just spoke about. The more that we create things, the more we step into what we want, the more we go, okay, this is what I want, universe, and you start creating it, then you're stepping into that vibration of, again, being that person who you already, you know, making those things happen. And because you're stepping into this new vibration, well, then this is, you know, as I always talk about, you're vibrating that to the universe. So that's when you start attracting more good things, because you're in this vibration, not down here going, I don't know anymore, just nah. Yeah, we still go through those times in getting to that point, but it's about not giving up and keep turning up. And then the universe goes, oh, here you go. Yeah, it's really important to create. All right, just checking that I have got all these. Yes, I have. Okay. So there is only now 2.5 hours to get into Trust Your Intuition. So if you haven't, if you've been thinking about it, now's your time, because there's only 2.5 hours left. And like I said, next year when it reopens, the price will not be this low ever again. I won't be offering it at this price again. So now's the time. Please send me a message if you've got any questions about it. The link is in the comments there. Oh no, I didn't put it in there yet. Oh yeah, I did. It's in the comments there. If you have any questions at all, please send me a message about it. Otherwise, I'll see you in the Trust Your Intuition tribe. And if not, I shall see you in my free content, supporting you the best I can. And I'm really excited to share with you. I won't say when, because everything takes longer than I expect. You know, when you're creating and like you want it done yesterday and it just doesn't happen, you know. It's just like, oh my God, this is still taking so long. But I'm like looking at it, I'm like made so much progress, and I'm so freaking excited to share it with you very, very soon. So please keep your eyes peeled. And I'm just bubbling with excitement because I want to share it, and it's not finished yet. I'm like, it's getting closer though. So thank you for listening to my live stream and joining me live. If you think that this video could help somebody about mediumship or anything else that we've spoken about, please tag them or share it in a private message with them. I've also released my fertility, healing fertility YouTube today. That's on my page as well. You can scroll down and find that on my personal page or my business page, Reality Awareness. If you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please remember to subscribe, and I shall see you very soon. Keeping it really real. Thanks for joining me. Lots of love. Namaste.